Hello, guys. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Instahyre Roundtable. I'm Sarbuchit. I am the co-founder of Instahyre, and today we are talking about something most people notice but rarely say it out. Work has changed faster than the systems and meant to value it. Many people carry responsibilities far beyond what their titles has described, and many skills that matter most today don't appear in their JDs. So the question is simple: are we paying for people for the skills they bring or the titles they hold? So discuss this. We have two leaders with us, Aditya Pal Singh and Vishnu Hari. Thank you both for joining us. A little bit of introduction about yourself. So Aditya, will start with you. So Aditya, a little bit of introduction for the folks who have just joined in.
Yeah, thanks, Avjit. And I'm delighted to be back on the Instahyre platform and excited for this discussion. I'm Aditya. I've worked in the talent acquisition industry for a good about 23 years. Worked in companies like Accenture, Informatica, KPMG, and Novo Nordisk. And I come with a lot of experience in product and services organization and a lot of deep dive information on talent acquisition. So I'm looking forward for this conversation. Back to you, sir.
Great to have you back, Aditya. We have Vishnu. Hi, Vishnu. A brief introduction about yourself to our folks who have just joined in.
Yeah, good evening to everybody, and I'm really thanks for this opportunity, Sarabjit. And I have 11 plus years of experience in recruitment and started my career in a consulting firm. And then I joined an Altimetric for a leadership hiring. Then I worked in a Compass. Right now, working in a Belgium Post e-commerce product and completely into one product SaaS and fintech. Very good experience in recruitment, so technical recruitment.
Great. Lovely to have you, Vishnu. Lovely to have you, Aditya. And start off the first question which I made. So have you seen, so Aditya, this question, we can start off with you. Have you seen situations where someone's actual work was much bigger than their title? Like what did they reveal to you about how companies value people? So Aditya, over to you.
Yeah, so the true value is measured in the not on the talent or not on the title which we hold, right? It's more measured with the kind of work the individual does. Organization pay people at leadership level for the complexity of the role, right? Not for the hierarchy, right? All the roles and all the processes have to be data driven, and the decisions have to be data driven, and the ability for the individual to derive data and influence individual plays more important part than the designation of the role. There are people at leadership level, people at junior level who command more more influence as compared to a lot of people at leadership level because of the content, because of their relationship which they carry, because of the influence which they have on other people, right? So that plays an important part. Titles is more like it gives stability from an organization perspective, but trust is for the opportunity which the individual brings to the table, right? So title deficit creates more retention from a risk perspective, right? So titles are there, but then what the role individual does plays an important part from an organization perspective, right? So that's what my perspective is, Arjit.
Great. So Vishnu, your thoughts on this? Aditya has told a lot of insights on this. Like, have you seen situations where someone's actual work was much bigger than their title? What did that reveal to you, and how companies value people?
So as per my experience, the skill set is very, very important rather than when comparing with the titles. Because from last 11 years, I worked with a product and with a fintech. The people will completely focusing with a skill set, what they are looking for. And because I worked with a junior to senior level position till 18, 20 years, like their preferences, they are in a completely an hands-on and management experience only they are looking for. So my point of view is the data metrics and all the things where we can analyze it, skill set is very, very important for a futuristic, apart from the titles.
Okay. So, Vishnu, continuing with you, the way people work today often doesn't match what is written in their JDs, like job description. They take on more, contribute across, like there are cross functions, and own problems that weren't that wasn't there originally theirs, right? So, how should the compensation reflect the real work people do?
So JD, it's like the normal roles and responsibility. What the people will think about the JD, what is the responsibility, and the skill set. What we have mentioned in the job description is very, very important. So with that only they should be considering, because when we talk about the product and with a fintech company, we won't consider the job description. Job description is different, and the roles and responsibility different. What the people joined in a current organization. So job description, it's for a namesake only. We will be provide to the candidates. So the candidates with skill set with multiple technology, they need to do everything, not only depending on the job description. This is the responsibility. I have gone through the JD, so this is what I will be doing. That is not a proper the developer will do. He should be the taking care of everything, handling the end to end, like product, problem solving, everything. So this is what I'm seeing in many candidates. Rather than seeing the JD, depends on the skill set, what they want to do. They need to do everything end to end.
Okay. 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 So, Aditya, your thoughts on this? The way people work today doesn't often match with the JDs. They take on more, contribute across functions, and own problems. So, how should compensation reflect the real work which these people do?
See, job description is a guiding light, right? It's
Okay.
while we sign on the contractual letter, it changes after a period of time, right? It's a guiding light what the role is, what you are expected to do at that role. Now, in a lot of organizations, the job description is not upgraded. Let's be very honest. And a lot of places, it takes a lot of time. And a lot of time, it's a reflection of the last person doing that job, right? So, what it has evolved as we move forward is, it's just a skeleton of what is expected to do. And then what you bring to the table is because you've been hired to add more value from an organization perspective. The work is always continuously moving, right? We don't work in a world where what is input and what will be output. The organization keeps moving at a particular pace and a particular speed, right? So you need to evolve as an individual. So the skills gets enhanced, you get trained. So JD not always is the true reflection of what the individual does. It's what the individual does is defines the JD after a period of time, right? You and I may be doing two different, you and I may land up in the same job, but the way, Sarajit, you will tackle the work is very different. Maybe I will tackle the work, right? So it becomes us. And from an aspiration perspective, right, we will both tackle differently. But yes, compensation is also driven with the performance of the individual by doing that particular kind of work, right? The organization benefits of saying that, hey, you know what? This work can be done far more better and faster done by Sarabji, then you get compensated more fairly as we move forward, right? From an individual standpoint. So that's how, it works. But, it's just a guiding light, but, you need to then develop it and take it to the next level from an organization perspective. And a lot of organizations are now slowly investing in career architecture and few other things to enable these roles a little more better and moving away forward. But these are all, brief skeleton. It's like your body, right? If you now take care of your fitness, your body will evolve very differently as compared to not taking care of your fitness.
Great, lovely. So Aditya, career growth used to follow levels and ladders, but with
Yeah.
hybrid roles and changing skills, the idea of growth itself feels different now. So, do you think we need a new way of thinking about progress in careers?
Okay. Yeah. So career growth, I think so it's a very Indianized version of always looking at promotion in every 2 years, right? That's the way people think of it, right? I think so. People need to look at career growth for more from a learning perspective, right? You're learning agility, and your intellectual capacity to grow further up, right? So, your ladder has to be little more horizontal, where you add on more as you move forward from a career perspective. The problem is ladder is very verticalized, and you say, okay, after deputy manager, senior manager, and that's how you will look at growth. No, it is not that. I think the more horizontally which you grow, and then more diagonally which you move, like a river, it helps you navigate doing things far more better, right? Otherwise, you will get stuck in that rut of getting into next promotion and next promotion, right? So looking at that, and also growing your learning agility and intellectual equity as an individual plays an important part as an individual, but not only looking at career from a growth promotion perspective. You need to elongate your career. You need to learn, and you need to grow a little more horizontal to looking at things little more perspective, right? I'll give you a quick example. So in recruiting, if you predominantly do only recruiting, what happens is you look at lens only from one end, right? Now, if you have done staffing or resource management, you look at recruiting very differently as compared to someone who's done only recruiting, right? So, the more you are able to, broaden and horizontally grow, your ability to look at things becomes far more better, and the more agile you become as an individual, and more beneficial you become from an organization perspective of saying that, okay, this person understands the larger concept of where the organization wants to move.
Great. Lovely analogy of the river. I'll move on to Vishnu. Vishnu, the same question will apply for you. Like, career growth used to follow a lot of levels and ladders, but with hybrid roles and changing skills, the idea of growth itself feels a little bit different now. So do you think we need a new way of thinking about career progress?
Yes, obviously we should think about the career progress. As Aditya told, I agree with that point. We need to enhance the skill set. Depends on the futuristic. So, for example, some skill set like an AS400 or mainframe in the 2015, 20 years, it was a very good technology. Now the people are not working in the technology. Now they are upgrading to multiple technology. So enhancement is very, very important to build a ladder. Some people are moving into this technology to other technology. So now they are back to Java technology. All people are working in Java, Python. So ladder, and with enhancing the skill set is very important for the ladder to build a career path.
Okay. Continuing with you, Vishnu, fairness is one of the hardest thing to define in a workplace, right? So as roles evolve and skills, they are shifting very quickly. How should companies think about fairness in compensation today?
I'm sorry, I can't get you.
So fairness is the hardest things one of the hardest things to define in a workplace. As roles evolve and skills they shift quickly, how should companies think about fairness in compensation today?
Yeah, fairness, we should think about the compensation depends on the skill set, because some skill set they are paying in very high packages. So fairness and the responsibility is quite important.
Okay. Aditya, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so if you ask anybody in talent acquisition, compensation is always a burning issue, right? And I'm sure Vishnu agrees with me. So,
Yes.
As we said, I think fairness is equal to transparency plus consistency of doing work, right? Consistency is more about what is the job architecture, what is the skill required for doing that job. Now, transparency is how do you compensate that part, right, from an individual standpoint. Now, we need to realize that we live in a world where, at least let's talk from a technology perspective, the shelf life of technology is very less, as what Vishnu spoke about, right? He is 400 at one particular time, and today there's something else, right? And then after some time, there'll be something else. So, a lot of organization at one period of time used to pay something called hot skill bonus and few other things for the particular skills which they bring, right? I think so there has to be some amount of fairness from, okay, what is that your skill brings to the table, and how much of the organization profit is going to derive out of it, Now, there is a lot of thought about, on organizations on saying that, okay, either you say I pay for the skill and I pay for the level, as what we started the conversation about. I think the pay for the skill is more important because it's the skill which helps us do the job, right? Sometimes I'll not be surprised if we're organization where a super skilled guy is paid little more than the person who's heading the organization in a delivery role, right? So a lot of time it does happen. We just don't talk about it, right? So I think the paying for the skill is more important, and then also being fair enough for that, because you need to look at a particular skill and say, okay, there are limited number of people who can do this skill, right? And there are limited number of people who bring this thing to the table. And for another skill, when there are a lot of people, you pay slightly less and you pay higher for the hard to hire skill or a difficult skill. And for a vanilla skill, you pay a slightly less premium as compared to both. End of the day, what does it solve from an organization perspective? Also, what we need to derive, right? And also from a cost perspective, right? Organizations all work on a cost model, right? Everybody works on a pyramid model. If you're a large scale services company, that's how you would work. So looking at both from a cost and a delivery standpoint, you work with the compensation part. And obviously the tricky part is of organizations saying that, hey, you're paying X little more and Y more. You need to be transparent from an organization perspective of saying that why am I paying Sarabjit X and why am I paying Vishnu Y, right? From an organization perspective of what they bring so differently, because the impact of Vishnu might be slightly more higher as compared to Sarabjit, but then I'm not devaluing what Sarabjit brings to the table, but I'm just paying Vishnu for what additionally he brings to the table.
Okay, great. So we move on to the next section, Aditya and Vishnu. So we'll have like some audience questions. So if skills matters more now, what stops companies from being more transparent about how they decide salaries?
See,
Anybody can take it.
yeah, sorry, Vishnu, I'll just go first. So if you're okay. So
Yeah, sure.
I think, sorry, what was the last part, Sarabjit? You said what devices organization? Sarabjit, what was the last part on?
Yeah, I will repeat the question once more.
Yeah.
Uh, so if skills matters more now, what stops companies from being more transparent about how they decide salaries?
Yeah. So see, if you look at it, talks about the maturity model of the organization and also where we are from an audience perspective. India is still driven. I think the maturity model of showcasing. If you look at some organization in Europe, some of them are being transparent about the pay scale about their organization. I think the process is still not mature when it comes from an India perspective of saying that what we are ready to pay. Secondly, the organization are still very skeptical of showcasing what the individual will play in from an organization perspective. There is a huge psychological fear of organizations and leaders of showcasing what they earn, because they'll be scared of what could be a big gap between them and the people reporting into them, right? So, and also if you look at organization compensation, right, you have min and max, but a lot of time you see people in the gray area from a compensation perspective, right? And so all that comes across I think so we are not ready from a maturity angle from a audience perspective of taking that. I think Europe is already getting there slowly. There are companies which are now are very transparent on what could be the min and maximum band for a compensation perspective, but slowly we will get there. I think some of the companies are being brave enough to start doing that. I think so in due course of time we will get there, but it will still take time. But again, it's also a fact about a little poor data collection and few other things which is also not enabling us to do this quickly, but slowly, steadily, once the market matures, I think so we will get there.
Great. So we'll move on to the next question which we have. How should companies, organizations reward someone who has grown faster than their role but hasn't received a change in title yet? Yeah, anybody can answer.
Yeah, I can go. So somebody who's grown faster but has not seen the title growth, right?
Yes.
So So are you worried about retaining that person? That's what your question is. That who's
Mostly, yes. I think
yeah.
that is
So
the
there are two parts. Like, see, I think the biggest challenge, I think the problem with a lot of people on assessing individual is someone is doing a good job at that level, we promote them. I think that's a biggest problem. We should promote someone who is showcasing what is expected at the next level. So that means that individual is already performing at the next level. I think that's the part which is missing. We normally promote people who are doing excellent job at that level. And once they get into the next level, we don't know what is happening from an individual standpoint. Secondly, is we need to grow those individuals more horizontally and vertically, of giving them more responsibility from how they can develop as individual, because the more you are invested in people and the more you are invested in building their capability, is more there the stickiness to the organization is going to come in, and then you develop leaders and people who are more invested to stay in an organization for a longer period of time. Sarjeet.
okay. So we move on to the candidate question, the job seeker question, which we have. So for professionals listening, what is one simple way they can show the real value of the skills during a compensation conversation? Anybody can take it.
Okay, can you repeat it again?
Yeah. So, what is one simple way they can show the real value of their skills during a salary negotiation or a compensation conversation?
Okay. So if it is a very niche technology, the people will be showing their the CTC part. Because, for example, right now we are working for an director of Kafka architect. It's a very niche technology which was introduced 7 to 8 years back. So people are demanding. So they know the market strategy. They will be doing the market mapping, talent mapping, everything, and they will decide and they will demand us. This is the package we are expecting. So with the skill set, people are expecting the more packages for this technology. So that is why they, with the skill set, they are demanding with the HR team to pay the more salary for these technology, for the niche technology. For example, Kafka, KDB development, these kind of technologies. So skills is very matter for the compensation part here. That's why people are demanding us.
Okay.
I think
Aditya, yeah. Yeah.
so there's we talk about EVP, employer value proposition. I think we should talk about CVP from a candidate perspective, candidate value proposition. What do they bring to the table? In addition to what Vishnu talked about, I think it's very important to showcase during those conversations of what is so different you carry as compared to the next person in, right? I think so that's where people get it wrong on talking about your commitment towards the job and how you see yourself growing in the organization from a long-term perspective, and how do you think you can add value from an organization perspective during a compensation conversation. That enables the person who's having a conversation of saying, if this person is invested in the organization, I see this person staying little more longer period of time. And what is the differential factor? I'm just talking about the things which Vishnu didn't talk about. So, while skill plays an important part, if you are hard to hire skill, as what Vishnu said, that will also derive the conversation. But then organizations are today looking at, how do I make sure that the person is invested if they're not going to walk into the next best person organization who's going to give them the better compensation. So you need to talk about why, what is so differential about yourself in the interview, and what is the value proposition you bring to the table a little more differently as compared to the next person. And so, then it becomes a little more easier, Sarjeet.
Okay. Great. So we'll have a fun round, which is a rapid fire round. So we have 7 questions set up for you guys. So Aditya and Vishnu, whoever wants to come first, I have the questions ready.
I can go. Yes.
Okay, Aditya. So the first question for you: if your life suddenly changes and becomes a video game, which one would you want to be? Which one video game character would you want to be?
Oh, I still play FIFA 25. So
Okay.
football any day. FIFA 25 is something which I'll still want to be there.
Okay. Great. You get a talking animal as an assistant for a week. Which animal are you choosing?
Dog, any day.
Okay. If you're Sunday for the rest of your life, if every Sunday for the rest of your life had to follow the exact same plan, what would your perfect Sunday look like?
Excellent breakfast, uh, time with family, and an early sleep. I think so. For me, that will be breakfast plays an important part. So that's important to me.
Okay. If you were to create a new law for all employers, what would it be?
I think give your employees a longer leash of time in the organization. I think we living in a world where decisions are made in a snapshot. I think that we need to be a little patient with our own employees, and that patience in long term will always benefit you as an organization. The patience has gone away from an employer perspective, I see.
Okay. If a restaurant names a dish after you or an item after you, what would it be called and what would be in it?
French toast. I love French
Okay.
toast. So French toast is the thing which should be named after me, or can be called Aditya's toast or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. You find a time machine with one rule, only 24 hours. Where do you go first?
I fight. Sorry, with the time machine.
Yeah, you have only 24 hours.
Okay.
You want to
I
stay there and then come back.
Yeah. So I'll go back to good question. Uh, I don't know. I am a big fan of Sherlock Holmes. While I know it's a mythical character, but when we get into that world and look at from an audience perspective, just be around.
Okay. Okay. Last question for you. If you had to rename yourself, if you had to rename yourself, what name would you pick?
Oh, it's my son's name. It's Abhimanyu. So that's the name I would want my name.
Lovely. Thank you, Aditya, for being such a sport. And then I will move to Vishnu. Vishnu, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You wake up inside your favorite childhood cartoon for a day. Which world are you in?
Tom and Jerry.
Lovely. What is one talent you have that most people don't know about you?
Mm, talking, convincing.
Okay.
I can convince
If
anyone.
you
Convincing.
okay, if your house had a 11 p.m. compulsory snack rule every night, what would always be on the plate?
Like tandoori.
Okay. You get a magic camera that can show you one moment from your future. What kind of moment would you choose to see?
What I will be after 70,
Okay.
after 70 or 60.
Okay. You can read minds for 5 minutes. Whose minds are you reading first?
My company director.
Okay. Which everyday inconvenience would you erase from the world forever? Which everyday inconvenience which you face would you erase from the world forever?
I don't know anything.
Traffic.
Yeah,
Okay.
traffic. Yeah, traffic. Chennai traffic. Yeah, it's traffic.
Okay. If your younger self sent you a two-word text today, what would it be? Your younger self sends to you a two-word text today.
Bye.
Okay. Okay. So with that, I come to the close of the rapid fire. And Vishnu and Aditi, you have been such a sport to answer my weird questions. And before we close, we want to share something important. Every year, Insta releases the Bharat Salary Pay Index, and the 2025 edition is now ready. So to walk us through the index, I would like to bring in Aradhya from our Research and Insights team. And over to you, Aradhya, uh, for the index launch.
Thank you, Sarbajit. And it is always great to hear the fun responses to our rapid fire questions. And coming to practical matters, as mentioned by both Aditya and Vishnu, compensations are an always burning topic. So, to help our talent acquisition fraternity with insights that are backed by data, today we are launching the Bharat Salary Index 2025. This report looks at how salaries are shifting with experience across India, how roles are changing, and how skills are beginning to influence compensation decisions in a bigger way. 3 points have stood out while we researched this report. First, in several functions, skills are starting to matter more than titles when it comes to pay, which is what drove the topic for this Instahyre roundtable. Secondly, salary compression is increasing between junior and mid-level roles. And thirdly, AI is changing output and expectations, but pay structures have not fully adjusted yet. The full report will be available for download for recruiters after today's session, and our esteemed speakers, Aditya and Vishnu, have had a sneak peek at it. So I'd like to invite them to share their thoughts regarding how the future of non-tech roles in regards to salary and compensation is going to play out.
I think in the AI part, which is disrupting the compensation part, I think that's the part which I think the organization has still not come to terms with, of understanding how do you match the skills with AI from a tool perspective. Also, because we are still in the world of still learning and understanding what would be the impact, right? And I think that's a part I think all organizations are struggling with, even if it's IT or non-IT, right? A lot of work, irrespective of what we do today, is AI driven, right? A lot of us use ChatGPT, Gemini, or any of these other tools from a work perspective, but we also use AI tools from NLP and few other things. I think that's the part. That's a very interesting perspective which you have put across in the survey, and in a lot of eyesight, a lot of inputs on how the market has also moved in a very different direction what we perceive to be it. I think those are very important connotations in your in your report. So I think the more people look at it, it will help, at least from a talent acquisition perspective, of two parts. One is also speaking to your candidates to give them a perspective, but also speaking to business. A lot of time with the stakeholders, they need to know where they fall from an organization perspective, right? You can't always get the top compensation perspective. It's the skill which you bring to the table, right? So I think this report will help us do those conversations with the organization, candidates, and everywhere else. So it's a good report. Vishnu?
Yeah. So I think everything is said by Aditya. It was very clear about what he said about the AI. So still, so everybody is working on it. So it's not confirmed. So I agree with the point what Aditya said. Everything is clear now. I don't have any point to tell. He clearly explain about the AI, what's happening. So everything. Yeah. But human participant is very, very important, right? So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And also it's more driven by, or rather is more driven by now a movement towards the skill perspective, what we spoke about, right? Of
Right.
paying for the skills. I think there is a very distinct push towards moving in that direction, or defining, instead of job role, looking at skills, on saying that this could be a premium skill, this could not be a premium skill, this could be a vanilla skill. So I think that's a good input which we move forward with.
True.
All right.
Great. This has been great, and right from the beginning, very insightful. I'm sure that the recruiters who joined us live, as well as the people who will watch this later, will get a lot of takeaways, and it has been absolutely wonderful. Sarvjit, back to you.
Hi guys, so sorry, there were some issues in the laptop, but thank you Vishnu and thank you Aditya for